All right, everyone. Like I said, my name is Courtney Fruoff. I'm one of your client account managers here at Practice Match, leading the webinar today, Building Connections and Lasting Matches, Recruitment Lessons from Valentine's Day. I do apologize ahead of time if it gets a little cheesy with the Valentine's Day aspect, but we're going to stick to theme here. I am going to monitor the questions as closely as I possibly can. Andy will let me know if I miss anything, but please feel free to type out any questions you might have in that little box. And we'll go ahead and get started here. Our agenda for the day, we will be covering actionable strategies to build meaningful connections with our potential candidates. We're going to leverage insights from Valentine's Day to create lasting recruitment relationships and practical tips for increasing visibility and engagement. All right, everybody, we do want to engage our candidates as early as possible. I don't think it's ever too early to start working on those relationships with our candidates. Strategies. It's never too early. Like I said, med school is a great place to start. A lot of my clients are already working on recruiting and brand awareness with med students. And we do have a few thoughts here on how you can do this, how you can get started rather than just reaching out to the medical schools themselves and trying to share your opportunities. What else can you do? You can partner with career services to host recruitment workshops. And always keep in mind that these med students, these residents, fellows, they are learning how to save our lives, how to care for us and our families. All the while, they're not really thinking about their career path or how to find a job. So start as early as possible with educating and hosting those recruitment workshops. You can also offer mentorship programs to provide career guidance. That can be your recruitment team. That could be physicians who currently work for you guys. They don't know what they don't know, and these are things that I've learned in this industry that they're not really thinking about. It's kind of a light bulb moment when we talk to them about their job search and their career path and career guidance. Residency programs, develop those long-term partnerships by providing educational resources and sponsor events like grand rounds and lunch and learns. So I do have an ENT only client that has partnered with us actually on some educational resources. They did put together a physician practice path program, and it's customized specifically for this particular ENT client. And like I said, we actually helped them with this. We customized it specifically for them, but it includes multiple educational resources. And they were able to pick what they wanted included in this physician program workbook. So just a few of those topics that they chose that they wanted included: physician malpractice insurance, decreasing your taxes as a physician, and 6 reasons to get disability insurance. Now remember, this is all customizable based on what you guys are wanting to impart on those candidates. But nevertheless, these are still educational topics that they don't always think about. I also would like to learn how to decrease my taxes as well. But that's besides the point. So like I said, that was one of our ENT only clients that we partnered on that resource with. And sponsor events like lunch and learns, didactic courses, and make those free to those students, to those residents. 65% of physicians decide on their first job opportunity during residency or fellowship. This is the best time to get them. Teach them how to search for a job, what's important when looking for a job, what are some red flags to avoid, things like that. Professional associations are always wonderful. Attend and sponsor at conferences and offer value-driven content. Again, anytime you can offer value in a way other than, hey, these are our jobs, please share them or please look at them, you're going to be viewed as more of a resource, not just a recruiter who's trying to push opportunities on them. Communication, this is huge. Find out which mode of communication they prefer. So do they prefer an email, a text, a phone call? That's a great lesson from Valentine's Day and that initial dating phase, developing that relationship in the beginning. It gets very confusing whether you're dating or whether you're recruiting, or even if you're a candidate that's being recruited. There are so many different modes of communication, and you need to make sure that you know which they prefer to communicate through. I don't know if you guys have ever seen He's Just Not That Into You, but there is a scene in that movie where Drew Barrymore and Scarlett Johansson are talking about the online dating world and how confusing it is. Well, he reached out to me from the dating platform. Well, then he emailed me, and so I sent him a text, and I can't keep up. But if you make sure you understand from the get-go, from the beginning of that relationship, which mode they prefer, it's much easier. Of course, honesty, transparency, and consistency will go a long way in any aspect of life, but especially when we're recruiting providers and physicians. Soft marketing outreach, like I said, we don't always have to push opportunities on people. We can talk to them about any type of education, how to create your CV, how to search for an opportunity, how to go about your visa, and even things like top 10 reasons to work here, a message from our CEO, a message from our CMO, things like that. Those are also other additional ways to communicate. And of course, you do want to reach out to your prospective candidates and your pipeline candidates every so often, just to let them know that you still care. You're still there as a resource. You're checking in to see how your job search is going. How's your family? How's your dog? Things like that, those little things go a really long way. So with Valentine's Day, like I said, we want to start early with those relationships, very similar to dating, those little thoughtful gestures, and that consistent effort goes a long way. A text message after your first or second date. Hey, I had a great time. Let's do it again. That's a big deal. Flowers, another big deal. Those little things will end up turning into long-term commitments. And that actionable tip, create a physician pathway program to guide students and residents throughout the recruitment journey. Again, we do have a practice path workbook here at Practice Match, and it's exactly that. It shows them a calendar of what they need to do when, and it is full of great information. Like I said, how to build your CV, how to go about your visa, how to search for your opportunity, how to interview, what to expect in an interview, things like that. And we also customize those for our clients and for our prospects, just like we did for my ENT client. Leveraging your alumni networks, the power of referrals. Referrals are one of my favorite ways to get hires, to get viable candidates. Physicians are 3 times more likely to consider jobs recommended by their peers. So what can you do? How can you really hone in on referrals? Well, you can leverage your current and past hires to act as ambassadors. I actually do have a client in Mid-Atlantic that has an alumni program, and they will reach out to their alma maters. Now, they do get paid, but I think it's a small amount. It's basically a referral fee, but then they also get paid for this program, and they will reach out to their alma mater. So they carry a lot more weight, the physicians do, the providers do, than us recruiters and account managers. So definitely use them. We also have our physician focus group who tells us if a provider reaches out to me or refers me, I'm going to trust them a lot more than, some recruiter that I've never heard of before. So use those current employees that you have to your advantage. And with our Valentine's theme here, referrals are very similar to when your friends might introduce you to someone. So just a little anecdotal personal story. One of my very good friends told me a couple years ago, she's like, hey, I have a guy for you. And I had already sworn off dating. I'm like, okay, tell me about him. Well, he's bald, he's got 4 boys, but he's an absolutely fantastic person. And just hearing that he's a fantastic person and what he's like, how funny he is, how respectful he is, etc., etc., I was like, okay, I'll consider it. Well, lo and behold, we're together now. That's how I met my current boyfriend. So we have our little meet cute there. And it's similar with our referrals, with our recruitment. If our potential candidates hear from one of our current physicians that this is a great place to work, you're going to love it. This is what I love about it. This is what I do. I have great work-life balance. They're definitely going to be more likely to find out more and pursue that opportunity. So testimonials also are extremely strong. These are amazing. Our physician focus group tells us if I see a testimonial from a provider or I hear from a provider that they love it, I'm more likely to pursue that opportunity. And you can also create that content featuring your success stories and your testimonials. And you can do, our actionable tip here, you can do a quarterly newsletter featuring these testimonials, but you can put that information anywhere. LinkedIn, on your job postings, on whatever tools you use, whether it's Practice Match or your other sourcing tools, add those testimonials wherever you can. Get the word out. All right, increase visibility through content and education. So 78% of physicians engage with educational content online before considering a job opportunity, which is awesome that they do that. But again, going with the theme here that they're not quite sure what they're doing or how to go about getting an opportunity. They're learning how to save our lives. So where can we develop this high value content? Well, blog posts addressing career concerns for residents and fellows, webinars, didactic courses covering anything and everything, negotiation skills, work-life balance, burnout, anything you can think of, maybe even things that are a common denominator that you're seeing with your potential candidates and your current employees. What's going on? How maybe you're seeing that nobody knows how to create a CV, or nobody's really aware of, what kind of benefits they can get through their next opportunity. So look out for things like that. Definitely offer those free webinars. Interactive social media Q&A sessions are always wonderful as well. And provide those educational resources to position your organization as a leader and a resource. I want us to go beyond our recruitment titles and become a resource. Become that first person, that first organization that candidates and current employees go to talk to about things. So again, back to my ENT only client, not only did they have the customized workbook that we created for them, but we also customized lunch and learn or webinars for them. So specifically, as requested, they wanted to cover contract negotiations, how to conduct your job search, and interview prep. So We can do all of these things for you guys. If you don't have the time or you just don't know where to start, we can say, hey, what kind of webinars do you want us to create for you? And we'll do it. Or if you already have something in mind, you just need someone to put it together, let us know, and we can do that as well. And these are just all ways to show that you care and you are invested in your prospective candidates here. You are invested. You're going to be there along the way for the entire relationship. So be present. Always be present in that relationship. Be a resource. And even if it doesn't always work out with this particular prospective candidate, continue to treat them as you would anyone else, because you never know who they may refer you to. So with the Valentine's theme here, we're showing we care, we are invested, and we are going to be present. So just an actionable item here, you can launch a monthly career development series. Doesn't even have to be monthly, you can do a quarterly if it doesn't quite fit into your schedule. And you can also feature experts and current physicians. Doesn't always have to be you. You can loop in other people who are, they're professional in their realm. So for example, Elisa Taub, she is an immigration lawyer. She's fantastic. She helps us out with our webinars sometimes because that's not where we shine. We're not lawyers. We don't know a whole lot about immigration. So we loop her in, and she will definitely do the same for you guys if you want her to talk to candidates. Events. Definitely leverage all kinds of different events for lasting connections. 85% of physicians prefer in-person interactions. This doesn't surprise me. If anyone here has ever online dated, you know how annoying it can be to just go back and forth online or texting, whatever it might be. It's like, okay, this person doesn't even seem real. How am I ever gonna know if it's meant to be? So we definitely recommend hosting events and attending conferences and career fairs. So some things you can do: host your own open house events that allow residents to interact with current staff. So I do have a client up in New Jersey who invited us to one of their resident events. It was really, really cool. They had it, I feel like it was an old train station or something. It was an old building. It was a bar restaurant, and they had balloons, they had heavy appetizers, an open bar, but they had us there. Of course, they had their recruitment team there, and they had their CMO, and then they had, I believe, a chief OBGYN was there as well. And so the candidates, the residents are having their apps, they're having their drinks, and the practice match folk, myself, we were able to talk about what we do for the providers at Practice Match. We took our practice path workbook and we handed that out, and we talked a little bit about what practice path includes and their career path essentially, and how we can help them. It was really neat that they had their CMO there and one of the OB-GYNs to talk about the organization, why they loved working there. And they even stuck around after their little speech to answer any questions and to socialize and talk to those residents. So it was really neat. Highly recommend doing things like that. I believe that's an annual event that they host. I also had a client, or have a client, down in Louisiana, and they host a resident event every year as well. Really, really neat. It's always in New Orleans, which is a good time and a lot of fun, but they'll put together a whole marketing plan, and they'll put together a really cool postcard to send out to these residents. And we actually designed that for them. Really neat. It's pretty easy with New Orleans to create a cool postcard, but they do that every year as well. It's always very successful. Same type of deal. They'll have the CMO and a couple physicians there who can answer questions and socialize, but highly recommend. It's always in a low-key setting. It feels a little more comfortable, less stuffy, and you get to know people better that way. Hybrid event formats to accommodate different preferences as well. Yes, highly agree with that. And make sure you guys are attending conferences and live career fairs. Now, in general, anytime you're hosting an event, I know this sounds kind of silly to say, but I've attended some of our live career fairs, and just some tips from me. And this, this goes for the people dating out there as well. Think about your body language. Be approachable. I know it's silly, but like folding your arms, it's kind of off-putting. You're not as approachable. Make sure you're smiling. You don't need to be on your phone. Be ready to chat. Be ready to mingle. And, of course, with the Valentine's Day theme, same thing. If the body language is off, they're frowning, they're on their phone the whole time, you definitely feel disregarded, and you're probably not going to want to see that person or pursue an opportunity at that organization. And remember, face-to-face is invaluable. This leads to stronger bonds and longer lasting connections. So it's one thing to email or text somebody or talk on the phone, but you guys know once you see me in person or see your practice match rep or anybody in general face to face, it's completely different, highly, highly necessary. All right, an actionable item, meet the team event, where candidates can hear directly from physicians about the work culture. Love it. Digital marketing. So this is today's giveaway. For those of you who attend our webinars, we always have some sort of giveaway. And digital marketing is super, super cool. So I am going to explain to those of you who don't know what geofencing is. It is a digital marketing tactic where we can actually put a digital fence around any location that has an address. So once a person or a candidate or a medical professional enters or exits that address, they are going to receive your animated ad on their mobile devices. So cell phones, Kindles, the Apple things, they're going to get that pop-up ad on websites and applications. So think about, with any type of digital marketing or any marketing really in general, you can customize your messaging based on your target audience. So if I'm going to be targeting my 15 residencies and fellowship programs, and they're all going to be under, let's say, women's health, I'm going to make sure I personalize and customize my message based on my target audience. Very similar to choosing a Valentine's Day card for your sweetheart. It might take you 30 minutes before you find that right card, that right messaging based on your sweetheart and the person he or she is. It might be a funny, goofy one, or it might be super emotional and heartfelt. So very similar with marketing. Personalization and customization are going to set you apart from your competitors. So with digital marketing, you're getting that increased visibility, you're personalizing your job ads, and you're improving your ROI with precision targeting. Now, if you've ever spoken to me, you guys, you know that I'm all about personalizing things, and that's one of my best practices that I always talk to you about. Whether you're using digital marketing, you're sending an email, you're sending a text, or leaving a voicemail, you should be thinking about who you're reaching out to, check out the profile of that person, and personalize it and customize it based on that profile. So similar to being on a dating app, you're going to check out the profile of that person. You're going to know all about them before you send out that first initial message. You can tell if someone just copy and pasted or if they took a gander at your profile. Likewise, we always want to personalize and customize our marketing. Okay, and like I said, this is the giveaway for this webinar. You will get to target 15 residency and fellowship programs, and that is a 1-month campaign. So your ad will run for a month, and you get to choose 15 different programs of your choosing. Now, I did want to sort of, we're not quite done, but I kind of wanted to end with a quote here. Let us always meet each other with a smile, for the smile is the beginning of love. I think this is a great reminder for recruitment, life, and love in general. Always keep that in mind. I believe you can scan this QR code here to take a survey for today. Do I have any questions? Will you folks be sharing the slide deck? I believe so. I believe we will. And don't leave yet. There is one more thing that I want to share. NAS is our sister company, and they are hosting a webinar on March 11th at 1 Eastern about women in healthcare. So some women that I truly admire. I've had the pleasure of working side by side with them for quite a few years now. Rupinder Kaur at Baptist Health, Kentucky, Indiana. Andrea Leland at Dartmouth Health, and Barb Martin at Mercy. They're going to be talking about their career paths, how they have moved from leadership, or I'm sorry, from entry-level roles up to leadership roles to the C-suite, their experiences, and shaping the workplace culture. So don't miss it. This is going to be awesome. These ladies are fabulous. I actually reach out to them quite often. I'm like, hey, which leadership book should I be reading? Are you learning anything good these days? What's going on? So don't miss this webinar. You can register here by scanning the QR code. And of course, you do get APPR credits, and this will explain how as well.